Oh, you're so happy about it. I actually think the Red Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me!
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5.
It was the deal. However Craig Breslow put it, maybe we'll play that again just so again, because it was such bull crap. And we all know it, and that's what these things are when a team makes a controversial move for whatever reason, and lots of reasons, I guess. I shouldn't say for whatever reason. I understand a lot of the logic behind it, but at the end of the day, the team doesn't want to throw the player under the bus. They want to try to take the high road, even though they just traded away someone they deemed to be a pain in the ass, largely because they didn't want to pay him anymore. And maybe the Red Sox couldn't stomach paying Rafael Devers. Maybe that's what it is. Which, again, half of me gets. It's just hard to separate this decision with the Red Sox from the other ones that have seen so many good players leave town. So 617-779-0985 on the Baseball Hour. We'll take your calls throughout the program because, again, you want to tell me there's plenty of blame to go around on this? There is. Rafael Devers was just introduced out in San Francisco to the members of the media out there. We'll read you some of the tweets from Chris Cotillo about what Devers said. Some of it may not surprise you. Jimmy Stewart, you said he's batting third tonight and serving as the designated hitter for the Giants in their game. Obviously, the Red Sox won't be in there until the weekend. But Devers is batting third, serving as the designated hitter, and has told the Giants that he would be happy to start working out at first base.
Yes, that's the good paraphrase.
Okay, so there you go. Meanwhile, Alex Cora has spoken to the media in Seattle with some messages, including one. I saw this one I thought Red Sox fans would get a kick out of. Let me see if I can punch this up quickly. Cora, apparently this was today on his weekly interview on our competitors at WEEI. Cora said he wanted to be straightforward about one thing with his team after the trade. So I don't know if Cora already said this to the team or intends to. But the quote is, one of the messages, and I'm going to be very clear, we cannot question the front office because the last 4 years we've been below average, Cora said. We have to be better. Are we playing better the last 2 weeks? Of course. Now we're in a better spot. People talking about the wild card. You see what's going on in the division. It seems like if we keep continuing to play this way, it's what people expected before the season. It's going to be a fight all the way to the end. But as a group, we have to keep improving because the last few years are not acceptable. And again, the first part of that message, boy, that's rich. We cannot question the front office because the last 4 years we've been below average. Says the guy who's been questioning the front office and ownership more than anybody over the last 4 years. So 617-779-0985. What we'll include, when we get the audio, if we get it, from Devers, we'll include that. Certainly anything we get from Seattle as well with regard to any Red Sox reaction out there. But in the interim, we'll revisit those press conferences from last night. Those took place after we got off the air here on the Baseball Hour. And so I want to get those to those as well, that when Craig Breslow, you know what, let's play it again, Jimmy, just because I now need it refreshed in my mind. But this is Craig Breslow on whether or not the Red Sox shopped around and got the best deal they could for Devers.
It's not that this was the best deal that we could get, because the best deal that we could get may not necessarily be good enough to trade a player like Rafi Devers. But when you consider all of the factors here, this is the one that made sense. This is the path that we went down. And so we ended up where we did.
Okay, this is the path that made sense, meaning dumping the contract and ridding themselves of the money. And so, again, look, I understand if the Red Sox put the money to good use and they go out and commit it to another high-caliber player who can hit in the middle of their lineup, or, for that matter, a frontline pitcher that could really take some of the pressure off of Garrett Crochet, well, then I think we can all assess whether or not they're a better team. In the long run, Roman Anthony can step in theory. In the long run, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Right now, Roman Anthony has to learn how to be a big leaguer and how to hit consistently in the big leagues, what have you, although he did homer last night. But if you want to tell me Roman Anthony projects to a middle-of-the-order bat akin to what Rafael Devers is, yes. The answer is yes. Hopefully someday he will turn into that. But in the interim, the Red Sox are probably going to struggle to score runs, and we'll have to wait and see what they do to improve the team beyond that. The players they got back from the Giants don't feel like anything special. So maybe something will come out of the woodwork and we'll change our minds on that. But as it is right now, it certainly doesn't look like they've improved. The Red Sox have the roster of the 2025 team. That's number one. Can that change? Sure. But they saw an opportunity to dump the money, and that's what they did. Now, I want to get to a lot of stuff tonight because there is a lot to get to. We've already played Brezlo for you. We'll play more. We'll play you some Sam Kennedy. You'll hear some reaction from the Red Sox clubhouse that we never got to earlier in the day on Felger and Maz. We'll take your calls as well. 617-779-0985. And, oh, by the way, if you want to talk about the team, that's okay too. They've won 6 in a row. And I heard this stat last night from Tom Caron. And in fact, I'm going to venture to see if we can get it. But there was a stat that the Red Sox have been are now the first team to win 6 in a row in Major League Baseball without scoring more than 4 runs in any of those games. They're the first team to win 6 in a row to do that since the early 70s, and I believe the last team to do it was the then Anaheim or California Angels at that time. So, all Devers all the time here, at least for the foreseeable future, and certainly we can talk about what's going on in the games and the change in pitching, all of that as well, whatever it is that you want to. It's also Trivia Tuesday. We'll do that later, and I'll give you a little bit of a cheat ahead of time. But the cheat will be, we're going to try to make them timely trivia to give away the Gulf gas card. And when I say that, I mean try to consider what the story of the week is and who the Red Sox will be playing in these games, both tonight, tomorrow night, and over the weekend. So let's get to your calls. We'll kick that off right away. Anthony in Scottsdale on thoughts from the Devers press conference. Apparently, Anthony watched it. So, Anthony, go ahead.
Listen, I mean, I'm not excusing anything management's done over the last, X amount of years, but his comment saying that, he's available to play first base and all that rubs me such a wrong way. And, with the way this team is going right now, they seem to have a little something going. So I'm not completely opposed anymore to having, a guy like that out of the clubhouse. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, so look, Anthony, a lot of people feel like you do, and that's an FU to the Red Sox on the way out the door. Rafael Devers will now do for the Giants what he wouldn't do here, which is play first base, put on a glove, maybe play third. Who knows? They're going to have him work out at first. But if you're a fan, you should be pissed off at that. Here's the other part of the story that I think you should consider. Why wouldn't he do it for the Red Sox anymore? And this is not the first time something like this has happened. Okay, so, and this is a loose comparison, but nonetheless, I'll throw it out there. When John Lackey signed here prior to, that was the 2010 season, I believe, Jimmy Stewart, you're better to remember this stuff than I am. Is that what it was, 2010?
That sounds right.
Okay, so Lackey signed what was a 5-year, $75 million deal before the 2010 season. There was an option on that deal for a subsequent year, a 6th year, if Lackey had an elbow injury that prevented him from pitching for the Red Sox. In his first year with a bad elbow, Lackey actually pitched through the whole year and had a horrible season.
It was the second year. It was the 2011 season.
Okay, so that's what it is. The second
12-12, 6.5 ERA.
His ERA, he was horrendous that year. And then he missed 2013 with or 2012 with injury.
2012, the Bobby Valentine year.
He missed that. Okay. As a result of that missed season to injury, the Red Sox got an option for an extra year on the contract for the major league minimum salary of, I think at the time it was like 550 grand. It was pretty low. It was something in that range. When they got to 2015, might have been 2014. No, it was 2015. When they got to 2015, the Red Sox traded him away. Did he pitch 2015 or 2016 for the Cardinals, Jimmy?
He pitched 2015 for the Cardinals for that $500,000 contract.
Okay, he told the Red Sox he would retire before he pitched for them for 500 grand. He would not pitch in Boston for 500 grand. Rafael Devers is now doing the same thing. Again, it's not totally apples to apples, but work with me. John Lackey was so disenchanted with his Boston experience that he wouldn't pitch here at the end and give the Red Sox their money back on that deal. F off is what he said. Now Devers is going to the Giants and doing the same thing, and if you want to be pissed at him, you can, and you should. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but whatever you choose, you have a right to feel slighted if you now feel that he's giving you the finger because he's working out at first base. That's fine. If I were the Red Sox, the question I would be asking myself is, why did he act this way with us? What was it that happened along the way between now, or that between the time he signed his contract in January of 2023 and now? How did the relationship sour so badly that Rafael Devers told the Red Sox, first of all, he resisted being the DH. Then he resisted moving to first base, or he refused. He resisted the first time. He refused the second time, leading to the point where they traded him and had to get back nickels on the dollar because they needed someone to take the whole contract. And now he shows up in San Francisco, happy as a clam in the Bay, willing to play at first base. If I were the Red Sox, that's the part of the equation I would examine. If they are putting this all on Devers, they can. I think they're wrong. I think I would use it if I were them as an opportunity for a little self-reflection and figure out exactly what pissed Rafael Devers off along the way. Because it does feel like there was a lot that was mishandled with regard to Devers and his willingness or unwillingness to be the DH in the first place. Something about the way that thing went down bugged the crap out of Rafi Devers. So there's a lot for both sides to be pissed about, but the Red Sox now have a history of failed relationships with star players. Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, you can even go back to John Lester, although we could certainly pin that one on Larry Lucchino, and now Devers. All of that on the Baseball Hour tonight. We'll play a comment from Sam Kennedy that also probably rankled a lot of people last night, understandably so. We'll do that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Sam, hi, Craig. Matt McCarthy with the Sports Hub. Sam, as you just said that this was a baseball decision, and maybe this is a better question for you, given you've been here a little bit longer than Craig, but over the course of the last 5 years, you've traded an undeniable first ballot Hall of Famer in Mookie Betts, and now a player who might be building his own Hall of Fame resume in Rafael Devers. So I guess simply put, why does the organization keep doing this? And what are the organizational factors that have created an environment where the Boston Red Sox are, I guess, repeatedly trading away Hall of Fame talent? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Understand the question. Each and every player decision is its own individual decision. And as I said at the outset, it's really, really hard when we either can't line up with our own players who become free agents or we don't line up on extensions. Obviously, very different circumstances. But I'll put our record up against anybody else's in Major League Baseball over the last 24 years. We're incredibly proud of what we've built here. We've got more trophies and banners to show for it than any other organization in Major League Baseball, and we are so proud of that. We're never going to shy away from big, bold decisions. We'll get a lot wrong, and hopefully we'll get more right than wrong. And we'll keep adding trophies to that case and raising banners here in Fenway.
That was Sam Kennedy last night. There were two ways to look at this answer. I said to you a little while ago, Rafael Devers now willing to play. When he's asked about how the Red Sox explain trading away two Hall of Fame players or Hall of Fame caliber, I don't know if Devers is a Hall of Famer, but let's see. Mookie Betts certainly qualifies, but you get the point. Two guys who are centerpiece players. That's two that the Red Sox have traded away. Sam Kennedy's answer is kind of F off. We've actually done some good things too, and he has a right to defend himself. In the same breath, I will tell you this, that isn't going to play well with the fan base. So I just believe in when you're in that spot, take the bullet, take the high road. And to me, what Sam should have said is, hey, look, the last 6 years haven't gone the way we wanted. Okay, and we would have preferred that this thing turn out differently, but it didn't. We felt like we were sort of, backed into a corner, and we had to choose an option that was not ideal, but we did the best we could. Okay, now if that, it's not selling anything to the fan base, but I would tell you that in an instance like this, fans don't want to be sold. They want to hear who effed up and why. So, now again, I just think that the communication thing with the Red Sox the last 5 or 6 years in particular has been brutal. I mean, absolutely brutal. Chaim Bloom couldn't speak to the fan base on a human level, and neither could Sam Kennedy. And I've said this a million times. I said this on the Felger and Maz show today. I'll repeat it because, unfortunately, I have a conscience. And I like Sam. I like him a lot. If you knew him, you would like him too. But in front of a microphone, I can understand why the fan base does not. So the Red Sox, you don't get that many straight answers from the Red Sox. And it would be nice if they just gave straight answers in human, common, day-to-day, face-to-face language that doesn't sound like a press release or something out of some corporate playbook, which is what it sounds like. Just tell the people the truth as much as you can in human terms. Human. They'll respond to it better. They're going to hate it either way, but they'll respond to it better. And they might not hate you personally as much as they do. So let's get to the calls. I've said this in the past. I'll say it again tonight. Please get to your point quickly. It's a big story. Try to get to the point so we can get as many people heard on this story as we can. Jim in Florida, what do you got?
Yeah, the when. When I was listening to that press conference, I wanted one of the reporters to ask the question, when was the decision made to shop Devers?
Okay, so fair question. And Jim, I'm going by Buster Posey on this one. That's a good one. That was one question last night that was not asked. And, there was one that was eating at me when we were talking about this a little while ago on Felger and Maz. This was the one. When did this start and how did it come together? So, Jimmy, go ahead.
So Buster Posey said at this press conference today that they've been talking to the Red Sox for 3 or 4 weeks about Devers.
Yeah, no, so I read the same comment. And so it's been 3 or 4 weeks. Here's how I heard it. First of all, the Red Sox have clearly been exploring a trade for weeks. Weeks.
I think since spring training, really, Tony.
Okay, so, and again, weeks could be 12 weeks, could be 3 months. But I think it, and I think even when they started with the Giants, they weren't close. My understanding was a little over a week ago that the Giants came back to the Red Sox and said, okay, we'll take on the whole contract. And then it got serious. Okay, so it felt to me like it came together quickly, because why would you keep playing Devers if a deal was imminent? And so, again, with the shape he's in, he can pull a hamstring at any time. Although I will say that generally speaking, he does play through. He plays through injuries.
He's had an injury for the last 3 weeks, according to the beat guys.
John in the car. John, what do you got?
Tony, I'm just tired of the propaganda. It goes all the way back to the Winter Classic when Henry got booed like they were a pack of wild dogs all over him. Within 2 weeks, they signed this guy to a monster deal just to appease the fan base. The problem is no matter what they tell you, you have to assume the opposite. So the only thing I want them to do next time for me is to hire Harry Sinden to make the next deal so that he can at least find the proper prospect to get instead of just taking whatever somebody will give you, because this team, no matter what they do, no matter how many grade A talents they have, they always find a way to get the worst possible return possible.
Okay, so John, the only thing I would tell you is that this comes down to a different choice. It's not the choice you're talking about. The choice is, do you eat the money or do you get rid of the money? If you eat some of the money, the chances are you'll get a much better player back. If you don't eat the money, then you're not going to get much in the way of talent. It's one or the other. It blows me away how many fans still get this part of it wrong. I don't understand why so many of you keep saying dump the money and you got to get a better return. You're not getting both. You're not going to be able to dump the full contract and get their best prospect. They won't do it. You want their best prospect, you're going to have to eat 2/3 of the money. Now, again, you want to bitch about the Red Sox not doing that, fine. But they weren't going to get both. They weren't going to dump the contract and at the same time get a high-level prospect. That was not realistic, and they knew it. They knew it going in. Brezlo basically said that last night. We had a pretty good understanding of what the market was going to be. They knew. Brian in the car. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why Devers is so upset is he resents the Bregman acquisition. I really believe that. He says, I'm the $30 million man, and now you're going to bring somebody in, and he's going to take my job? Screw you guys.
So, Brian, look, you could be right that again, because he's made, apparently he made some claims in the past that he felt like he got criticized for his defense by the organization. This is something else I heard within the last day. I think that's been out there in the past, though, that he didn't like being criticized for his defense. And what bigger criticism could you give someone than going out and getting a replacement? So if that's the case, they had no chance. But I would also say, the Red Sox could have gone to him early. There were rumors about them shopping for a third baseman as far back as last September, before the season was over. So my guess is he got pissed at that, and then he said, you clearly think my defense sucks, and he started to lose confidence in them at that time. So what would have been the best way to deal with it? I don't know. Cora had a good relationship with him, at least then. Could Cora have gone to him and said, hey, look, I want to talk to you about something, and I want you to calm down, but we think we can be a better team and we can win if we do this. But it would require your cooperation. Whatever it is, they didn't do it. This is the part that I would examine if I were the Red Sox. Quickly, Larry in Andover. Go ahead.
Hey, Matt. I understand the reason for getting rid of him. and also the factor that he pissed him off and he threw Brezlo under the bus. I think there's another issue that hasn't been brought up that much. They're getting to the point where some of these players are coming back from the injury list, like Abreu, and they have a glut of players. So maybe they think this is a time to pull the plug on him. We get rid of the contract, and then we solve that problem. And my question to you is, you got 4 outfielders. What do you do with those guys when Abreu comes back?
Okay, so look, I don't know. I think the timing had more to do with the fact that the Giants wanted to act, Larry. To me, that's what it is. Now, what do you do with the 4 outfielders? You rotate one of them at DH every night. Exactly what they've been doing so far. So, first night, Jarren Duran DH'd. Put your outfield that day was Anthony in left, Rafael in center. I don't remember who played right, Jimmy. You're going to have to help me with that.
You could have Duran, Rafaela, Abreu with Anthony as the DH.
Okay.
You could also put Rafaela in the infield if you want to play him at second base or shortstop.
Yeah, so the point is you can rotate these guys and keep everybody in the lineup. Okay, when Abreu comes back, you can do it just that way. Anthony DHs one night, Duran DHs another night, Abreu DHs that night, whatever. You can rotate them all. This part of the deal you should like. They now have a bunch of pieces that can move to different places so they can accommodate, and build in rest for everybody on a given night. It's not a bad way to go if you don't have a DH like David Ortiz or Rafael Devers. You just plug someone into that role and they get a night where they don't have to play in the field. So it helps with the wear and tear and the managing of that. Kevin Majori's got your headlines here. When we come back, we'll give away the $50 Gulf gas card. We'll give you the conditions on that. We'll continue with your phone calls as well on the Baseball Hour. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. You can win a $50 gas card from Gulf to fuel your way to Fenway Park right now. Trivia Tuesday presented by Gulf. Call the contest line, 617-931-0985. That's the contest line, 617-931-0985. First caller out of 4 to get a trivia question right, you win a $50 Gulf gas card. Okay, but we'll take a max of 4 callers. Unless someone gets it right, then we'll give it away right away. 617-931-0985. In the interim, I think this is an important part of the story to touch on. The Red Sox have won 6 in a row. They started playing better at the end of last week, but there was certainly nothing in last night's game that suggested that the Devers trade threw them off kilter. They're pitching better. Fundamentally, they're playing better. Roman Anthony homered early in the game last night. They ended up winning the game 2-0. Shaky by the bullpen in the 7th and 8th. Chapman struck out the side in the 9th on, I think it was 13 pitches, 10 of which were strikes. So the performance overall for the team in the last week has been good, which raises the question of how much of a pain in the ass was Rafael Devers in the clubhouse, and what's it like now that he's gone? So a couple of players, or what is the impact of the trade on the clubhouse? There was some response from Red Sox players last night. Jarren Duran and Walker Buehler, those two in particular, caught my eye. So here's Jarren Duran first.
It's just a trade at the end of the day. I mean, he's a great player, and it's baseball, and trades happen all the time, so.
Kind of curious to see if you got, there's still time left before the deadline. If you guys kind of do anything to sort of offset the loss of Rafi.
Yeah, maybe, but like I said, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. I don't really like to play the who could we get? Oh, we got this much money, stuff like that. It gives me a headache just thinking about it. And I'm a simple guy. I just like to show up and play hard and hang out with the boys every day. So.
Okay, it's just a trade. Just a trade. Just the players come and go. So if they trade Crochet tomorrow, he's going to feel the same way. Come on. So listen, here's what I think. Duran didn't particularly care for Devers, and it makes sense. Jarren Duran plays hard. He does. I don't think you want him being your team captain for other reasons, but he plays hard. And he generally seems to relish being in the big leagues every day. My guess is he couldn't stand Devers or couldn't stand what Devers stood for, which was selfishness. That's number one. The Walker Buehler answer also caught my attention. He said this.
At the end of the day, at some point, this story's done and over and kind of written. So, obviously you guys will ask all of us about this for a few days. And at the end of the day, we keep winning, we keep playing good baseball. That's kind of our goal and what kind of gets rid of this stuff for us.
Okay, gets rid of this stuff. Tired of talking about it. So this is the other part of the story. I think a lot of guys, and Buehler's more of a veteran than Duran is. I think Buehler looks at this and goes, oh my God, can this thing end? Please, I'm tired of talking about it. This place is a clown show. Walker Buehler came from a winning organization. The Dodgers generally on the same page, which isn't to say that they didn't have their issues over the years too. I'm sure they did. But because they were winning, everybody bought in. Everyone's on the same page. I think Walker Buehler is one of those guys who came to Boston and goes, oof, thank God it was a one-year deal. This place is a clown show, which is how it used to be before 2004. I remember David Cohn saying something similar when he was here for the one season where he said the famous line, I thought the Bronx Zoo was something, but this place takes the effing cake. That's what David Cohn said about Boston 24 years ago. All right, should we give away the gas card now, Jimmy? We'll do that quickly if we can get it right. Let's see. Anthony in Peabody, you there?
Yes, how are you, man?
Okay, Anthony, here you go. If you get this question right, I'm going to make this one. What the hell? I'll give it to you straight. The Red Sox are going to play the Giants this weekend. Barry Bonds, obviously former Giant. Rafael Devers is the best hitter they've had since Barry Bonds, who holds the major league career record for home runs. How many home runs did Bonds hit in his career?
I know it's in the 700s.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Okay, never mind. Anthony, we're going to let you go. We're going to let you go. I'm not going to ask the same question to the next person. The answer is 762. But if you had asked people several years ago how many home runs Hank Aaron hit, they would have said what?
714?
755.
Oh.
714 was Babe Ruth before Hank Aaron broke that record. Good, though, Jimmy. You were close. Bill's in New Hampshire online, too. Bill, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are we doing?
Okay, another question for you.
How are we doing, Matt?
I'm good, thank you. Barry Bonds, in addition to holding the career record for home runs by a baseball player, also owns the single-season record for home runs by a player. How many home runs did Bonds hit that year?
49.
Holy crap, not even close. Not even close. Holy crap. 73. That one you should know. 73. 49. Holy smokes, that wasn't even close. Wow. 49. Do we have two new callers up? We don't yet, do we?
Line 8.
Okay, we'll take the next two callers. 617-931-0985. Do we have a name for the caller on line 8, Jimmy?
Yeah, it's James on line 8.
Okay, James is in Foxborough. James, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Barry Bonds' godfather was a Hall of Fame player regarding...
Willie Mays.
Very good. There you go. Willie Mays is the correct answer. So stay on the line. We'll get your information. You win the $50 Gulf gas card. Jimmy, I may have frozen up here as well. So...
Yeah, the system can't handle a contest.
Okay. Actually, it looks like I can't tell you whether or not I have my power back here. It looks like I'm frozen, so you're going to have to help me.
Imagine if the country station was giving away something, too.
I know, seriously. The thing would be flipping out. It's the French hamster in Paris has stopped running on the wheel. Our call screener is written by a French software company. So, Jimmy, if we could go to line 2, please. Brian in Medford. Brian in Medford on Roman Anthony. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Listen, we've got this new crop of like 5, 6 players, Roman Anthony and the like. What is this current situation with Devers? What does this do 5 years down the road when they're like, okay, we see that we're gonna try to pay you? Roman Anthony is going to look at this and be like, I know what you did with Devers. So, like, are we just going to lose all of our talent, like, every single year, like, once they get off the rookie deals? It's just like...
Yeah, Brian, I understand.
For negotiations.
Yeah, listen.
Like, it's awful.
Yep, you ask a good question. Jimmy, actually, I think I can do it. Try to drop him, please, if you could. It's a good question. And this is the part that, again, as a fan, it really affects you the most. So players come and players go. But you want to be able to keep the good ones to be able to compete over the longer term. Sustainable model. So here's the answer. Those guys are going to have to play ball with the Red Sox or they're gone too. The only thing I can tell you is that Devers actually got a contract. Most of them don't. So Christian Campbell is already signed. You got to hope he can play and that they got it right. What's going to happen with Roman Anthony? Roman Anthony might not want to sign. He might want to go the Mookie Betts route, and he wants to become a free agent unless you pay him significantly in advance or you pay him what he's worth. These early deals are usually team-friendly. So players are going to have to take less, and the ones that have, for lack of a better word, balls and believe in their ability aren't going to sign here. So you're going to lose them is what's going to happen. Ted in a car on Devers and Sam Kennedy. Go ahead, Ted.
I called the wrong line. I should have called the trivia line. I knew both those answers. Craig Breslow forgot to mention the terms benchmarking and paradigm shift last night. What I would like to know is what was the process they used to sign Devers besides being panicked to do so? And don't we have the Dominican horse whisperer in David Ortiz to talk to these young kids? And I wonder how much of this is generalization for the young kids. I don't know if you have kids or not. I have a 20-something, very bright, but sometimes she says stuff, and I have to roll my head because it's not how the world works.
Okay, so Ted, that's every 20-year-old. That's not just your kid. Believe me, I got my own. They have the answers to everything, and I probably did when I was 22, so don't blame them for it. It's different now, for sure, but it's different for everybody who goes from 20 to 50 or however old you are, and then their kids are growing up in a totally different era. It's part of the cycle of life. So now, what was the other thing he asked me? What research did they do when they signed Devers or something like that? My guess is I'm not sure they did a crap ton of it. They knew he was left-handed. They knew he could hit. And they lost Mookie Betts, and fan base was in a lather. Everybody was pissed off, so they signed him. They made a mistake. I think they know it. That's why they were so eager to dump the contract. When you give someone that kind of money, he has to check all the boxes. Pardon the pun. It's got to be great ability, takes care of himself, high character person, committed to the cause. It's why it's so hard to find true franchise players. It's difficult. So you might have thought Xander Bogaerts was a guy like that. They got him on a bridge contract, for lack of a better word. And on Bogaerts, they were right. Mookie Betts, they were wrong. So was I, by the way. They're not alone. I thought Devers over Betts was the right call at the time. Wrong. But you get the idea. Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap it up with your calls when we come back on the Baseball Hour. Also, we'll play the bit that Jim Murray... I just love the bit that Jim Murray did, which I'll explain to you when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
Tony Maz and the Baseball Hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Just quickly, I see a lot of you on the line. We'll get in as many as we can here before the top of the hour, but if we don't get to your call, don't hang up. Joe Murray is here. He'll be talking more Devers here all night long, so I'm sure he'll be happy to get to you, but I'll try to squeeze in as many as I can here in the final few minutes. We'll start with Justin in Waltham on the Devers situation. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I think we should be pissed as Red Sox fans. When you signed Devers to this contract, the Red Sox promised him and publicly stated that he would be the third baseman of the future. And then a year later, you turn around and you try to force him into a corner at either to play first base or to DH, and you turn him into a diva and say he's a bad teammate when he doesn't want to do that after part of the reason he signed the deal in the first place was because they promised him third base. A top 5 hitter like that in the league, he's going to get $450, $500 million on the open market. He was on a team-friendly deal.
Justin, I'm going to let you go just because I'll stick with the first point. And here's what I'll tell you. There's nothing in the contract that says he has to play third base. And you can say, well, they gave him his word. People change positions all the time. It's not an outrageous ask. And generally speaking, when you sign the contract, the team basically can do whatever it wants with you. You can't tell them where to play you or where to hate you. You can't. It's not part of the deal. That's the arrangement. We pay you. We buy your services. You do what we tell you. Once you say no, I don't want to say you're in breach of the contract, but that's how they look at it. John's in Connecticut. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Maz, I have my feelings on it, but I genuinely want to know from you, Breslow's statement when he was saying by no means is this a white flag on 2025, and he actually did say some positions pitching that they're going to target. Like, how much face value do you actually give that?
Okay, so I don't think that they are pulling the plug on the season. And I think there's a chance things could go well for them still, largely because the league stinks. So, in the same breath, though, and I don't want to completely dump on everything Breslow says. Some of it's a bull crap, but other parts of it have some merit, and that is that if Roman Anthony all of a sudden rips it up in the second half, they may not really miss Devers. Now, do I think that's going to happen? My answer is no. But if they pitch like they've been pitching, play fundamentally sound, and get their offense is average, they can still make the playoffs. Now, do I think those things are going to happen? I doubt it. But who knows? Squeeze in one more. Connor and Katuitt. Go ahead, Connor.
With Devers leaving, where does this leave Bregman? What are the chances of him coming back next year? Is it good for it, bad for it? What do you think?
Okay, so here's what I think. I think that Bregman's position is enhanced. Right now, he gets to pretty much ask for whatever he wants, particularly if he plays well down the stretch. So if he doesn't, if he doesn't go to free agency, he'll be able to renegotiate with the Red Sox by threatening to go to free agency. Or the Red Sox might also say, okay, go ahead, leave. We'll play Marcelo Meyer there. I have a hard time believing that the Red Sox are going to get into bidding wars for players anymore. But I would say, let's see how it goes with Bregman. If he has a bad second half or gets injured again, you can bet your ass that he's going to stay. So I don't know, in some ridiculous way, you may actually be wishing for that. And by that, I mean that he doesn't have a great second half and that he chooses to stay. Why would he walk away from $40 million if he can stay? Kevin Majori is going to grab your headlines here. If you listen to Felger and Maz, you know that one of the things we mock the Red Sox for is blowing smoke up your ass at those press conferences. Jim Murray had a little fun with that. It'll take you right into headlines with Kevin Majori. Joe Murray is next. Don't go anywhere. Joe Murray is next. So don't go anywhere. If you're sitting on the line, he'll get to your calls right off the top.
There were times during the course of conversations with Rafi's camp, where they had indicated that perhaps a fresh start would be best for both sides.
We